It's Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern, and happy Wednesday, and welcome to another episode of Mr. Cashflow Live. Our weekly broadcasts are designed to help you increase your business or practice's cash flow and introduce you to some great people and subject matter experts that can be of help to you. The recorded version of this live stream will be found on my YouTube channel, and you can jump into the YouTube channel at any time, and if you want to go ahead and subscribe, then you'll be notified at any time when we're going to be starting a live stream. But at least for now, the live streams are going to be on Wednesday afternoons at 4 Eastern. That may change, but if you subscribe to the YouTube channel and click the notification bell, it'll let you know when the next live stream is coming up. Feel free to ask questions as we go along today. We'll try to answer them live. And if you're watching the recorded version, then we'll get those answers back to you via email. Today's broadcast is specifically designed for those in the healthcare field who have to deal with insurance claims and insurance denials. I am thrilled to have my friend and my guest today is Karlene Dittrich, CEO and founder of MedRevenue Solutions. More importantly than that, Karlene is my go-to person. When I have questions on insurance for my clients, she is my insurance guru. And so I'm really pleased to be able to introduce you to her today. Karlene, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You know that I work with a lot of medical and dental practices as consulting clients and coaching clients and all kinds of other clients. And universally, and I've been doing this for a very long time, but universally, when I talk to a medical practice or a dental practice and I mention the word insurance, I get a groan every time. So I think this is really timely. I'm thrilled that we actually had Karlene scheduled 2 weeks ago, and because of some technical difficulties, we weren't able to actually go live with that. I had a bunch of people who contacted me and were all disappointed. So hopefully they're with us today and we'll be able to get their questions answered. Before we get into the deep topic of insurance claims and denials, tell me a little bit about you, where you're from, and how MedRevenue Solutions got started.
I am from Canton now. I just moved to Canton, which I love, and that's Canton, Georgia. I have been in healthcare for over 40 years, and the majority of that in the revenue cycle management side. Once managed care came along, I actually was in the specialty of psychiatry, so I had to learn the strategy on how to fight the insurance companies. Took me a couple of years. I finally found out there were laws that apply. I became passionate about that. Met through one. I worked at Northside Hospital at the time, and I met my mentor, who was the guru of ERISA, and that was something that the Georgia laws I had down, but then I wanted to learn about federal laws. So he taught me everything I know about, and he actually took me under his wing. I obtained some extensive training and certification under him before he passed away. I am one of 3 people in the United States that have had that certification and training, specific training. But it has become a passion. So, I'm a sick woman. When I go to the beach, I'm not reading a love novel or romance novel. I'm reading the Federal Register or court cases.
God bless you. Because somebody's got to do it, and that somebody's not me.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. What would you say is the biggest issues that healthcare practices are facing these days regarding insurance claims and denials?
A decrease in reimbursement, steady decrease in reimbursement over the past, I would say, over several years, and increase in denials and offsets.
Okay. So they're getting less money, which puts a lot more
harder work.
Yeah, because it doesn't get any easier to get those lower reimbursements, and it puts a lot of burden on their patients.
Yes, it does.
Which is fine, because I work in the collections area for patients, so that helps me out a little bit. There's more of a need there. But I also, consult with medical and dental practices and want them to do well. And I want them to be able to deal with their insurance and deal successfully with their insurance, and they're leaving a lot of money on the table, aren't they?
They are. Estimates, studies show that they're leaving 30%, at least 30% on the table. I think that number has increased significantly in the past 10 years, and especially over the last year with COVID.
Okay. Is that because they're not clear on what they need to be doing, or are they doing something wrong to leave that money on the table, or are they just not well educated in how to deal with it?
I think it's a lack of awareness. Most providers feel like they have to follow whatever the insurance company says, and they're at the mercy of the insurance companies, when in truth and fact, there are laws and provider rights out there that I have been over the past 15 years trying to share and help them understand that the laws are actually on the provider side and are revenue protective.
And most practices that I've dealt with would not believe that. They think everything's against them.
That's correct, but it's not.
And that's good for them to know. It's a great relief to them to know that there's actually somebody on their side, and things are actually good for them if they do it properly, and they know what they're doing, and they know how to, unfortunately, let's call it, they know how to play the game.
Sure.
Then there's benefits for them. So healthcare, they're processing their insurance claims. How do you know if the claim's being processed correctly?
If you receive a denial or an underpayment or an offset, that's your first indicator that the claim is not being processed in compliance with or in alignment with governing state and federal laws.
Okay. Now, you told me at one time, and I don't remember exactly how this went, but there was a large percentage of denials that were not valid. Do you remember telling me that?
Yes. About, let's say, 99 and 9/10 of them are not valid.
Okay, that's a large percentage. Wow. And so that's really, really something. Okay. Well, as we're going along here, I just want to mention, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the question box. We'll try and see them and get them answered while we're still live. If not, again, we'll get back to you by email. I'm talking with Karlene Dittrich, the founder and CEO of MedRevenue Solutions, my personal insurance guru that I go to for all of my questions. And she's pulled me out of a couple of jams in talking with clients when I really wasn't sure I knew what I was talking about. And when I can quote Karlene, then I know what I'm talking about. So what's the best defense strategy for a practice to address denials?
Gain education and knowledge on what the provider rights are, what the claims handling compliance requirements are, which are addressed under state and federal laws. Georgia has some good insurance laws, and then we also have ERISA that governs any claim that is provided or to employer group employees. You have the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act laws that address the government, school, church, and individual claims. So once you gain awareness of what those laws are, what the rights are, you will better understand how to address, not only address, but assess if your claim denial is valid, or how to address the denial.
So in other words, they got to sit on the beach and read your reading list.
No.
Or I have an even better way. If you see Karlene is speaking somewhere, she speaks for the Medical Group Management Association. I know, because that's where we met originally the first time years ago. If you have an opportunity to hear Karlene speak, do it. It's worth whatever the investment is. It's worth the investment of time. Make sure you do it. You offer a good bit of training, don't you, Karlene?
I do. I do on-site training. Plus, once a year, I hold 2 separate days of training here in the Atlanta area, sometimes in the Savannah area, as requested.
And if you don't live in the Atlanta area, it's beautiful. It's worth coming here to see Karlene's training. If people want to get in touch with you, I put your email address up. They can get through to you by email, right?
Yes.
medrevenue@bellsouth.net. So if you need to talk to Karlene or you want to find out where she's going to be speaking, either live or virtual, since we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Unfortunately, I don't do virtual because it's an all-day seminar and it's a lot to take in as it is.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the only thing you want to do is schedule a glass of wine.
Well, there you go. So hopefully we'll all be back to speaking live again soon. And I know Karlene and I have talked about teaming up and doing a day-long seminar sometime when she'll tackle the insurance end and I'll tackle the patient end. And I think that would be, not only would it be wonderful, wonderful information, but it would be a whole lot of fun with two very, very engaging speakers. So let's talk about recoupments and offsets, because the insurance companies are doing that. Is that valid?
No, it doesn't comply with federal laws. And what thing you have to keep in mind is that once they recoup, the way they do their process, good example is United Healthcare. Aetna does it. Cigna is the only one I'm seeing that does not actually do it this way, but they do what's called a cross-plan offset. So if you have a claim on Mickey Mouse that was paid by Disney, and then they come back, let's say it's for $5,000, and then they come back later and dispute that and say, well, you owe us the money back. You can turn around, and they'll turn around and offset a payment that's been paid by Delta or one of their own insured claims. And they're claiming to the patients that these claims are paid when in truth and fact they're not. So it's kind of indicating a false and misleading concept to the patient. But bottom line is you cannot commingle plan funds.
So, I mean, I've heard practices complain to me that they received a payment from an insurance company, settled everything out with the patient, and then a couple of months later, that money's taken out of a completely different claim.
That's correct.
Because they said, oh, well, we decided that wasn't valid, and so we're taking the money back. They can't do that, right? That's
they cannot. Illegal. They do it every day, but is it compliant?
Is it proper?
No.
Okay.
I actually had, in the last week, I've had 3 claims that were actually taken back in 2018, and I'm fighting those. And then they turned around again this week and trying to take them back again.
Oh my goodness! Oh my, Karlene's a fighter too.
Some of those were not paid to begin with because they were offset against another claim they were keeping.
If you're getting bullied by an insurance company, you need to talk to Karlene, because she'll go to bat for you and she'll fight for you.
Yeah, I had a long dissertation to a executive at United Healthcare in an email this morning. That's my first thing I conquered this morning regarding how I was going to handle that if they didn't want to work with me.
What a way to start the day. And I bet they tremble in their boots when they hear from you. Oh no, it's her again. It's like some of those commercials you see for the personal injury lawyers, where the insurance companies get all scared because it's that person. How do the contracts and policies apply to denials and claims handling compliance?
Most policies do not meet compliance with and do not align with applicable state and federal laws.
Most?
Most. Again, about 95%, if not more.
Wow. So what's the answer to that? Is it healthcare reform? Is it we just need to know our rights and stand up for them and fight back?
Yes. And I'm actually working with several advocacy groups to address some of the issues with our legislators where they fail to comply with and disregard blatant laws.
It's so important. I mean, this is huge.
It's huge.
And for ever since I started running a medical practice back in 1980, I've heard, patients saying, the doctors don't need my money. They're rich. And
yeah.
I take that personally. That offends me as much as it offends my clients, but it's just not true. If people understood what they had to go through just to get what's rightfully theirs, it's horrible. So
and then you only get 20% on the dollar. So 20 to 25% on the dollar after that big fight, if you get that.
Wow. Wow. And people wonder why the prices are so high.
Right.
You know,
There's a reason, but it's not the doctors and the hospitals.
so how do they become better equipped to respond to denials and handle that kind of stuff? How does Dr. Smith's office make themselves able to handle that kind of stuff?
I would become educated on the laws that apply to the claims handling compliance requirements, especially your ERISA and your PPACA laws.
What's the best way to do that?
Call me.
Okay.
I'm the only person in the United States that teaches it on a provider level.
You need to write a whole bunch of books.
Yeah, I have a peer that actually provides education to attorneys and does litigation support, and he's trained in the same area I am. But being in healthcare for over 40 years, my passion and my love is healthcare and healthcare providers, and I don't like what's happening, so I put it in a practical manner so that I could teach healthcare providers how to strengthen the appeal process and fight back.
Well, and you have a unique way of making it understandable to Susie, who's running the office. I've had other people explain some of this stuff to me, and it went like right over my head. When I asked Karlene, it's like, oh, that's what they were trying to tell me. So I appreciate that a whole lot. If you have any questions for Karlene, go ahead and type those in, and we'll give you a little bit of an opportunity. Anything else that we didn't cover that probably should be covered for medical and dental practices that might be watching?
One of the things, if you're having a clinical denial and you're going to their clinical policy bulletin to help fight your medical necessity investigation and, experimental investigational kind of denials, before you click into that clinical policy bulletin, read the disclaimer, copy or print off the disclaimer and use it in your appeal. That is your protection. But most people will just click right through that and not even read it. And that clearly says pretty much that the laws supersede.
And they say, I'm not going to read all that stuff because that's, well, now I didn't plan on including this question, but I want you to say it because you told it to me. I was speaking to a large medical group on how to write an effective patient financial policy. You'll probably remember this question. And I was challenged by somebody when I told them that they should put right into their financial policy that they will only work a medical claim for so many days. And if they don't get paid within so many days, it becomes patient responsibility. Somebody shot up out of their chair and said, "You can't do that. We're under contract with the insurance providers." And your answer was,
if it's denied, there's a compliance problem on the payer side. So
well, no, it wasn't denied. It was just they're dragging.
It was not paid.
If it's not paid within 45 days, I said in my practice, we told people it's patient responsibility, and they yelled. But my answer to the patient was, "Hey, look,
the patient owns the claim." And under Georgia state law, we actually have a great prompt pay, which I teach this in a lot of states. I've been teaching this all over the United States. We have some of the best laws, and prompt pay is one of them, which is 15 business days. And if you want to have fun, you get an insurance company on the phone and say, well, the claim wasn't paid within 15 days. And they say, well, this is a self-insured claim. It falls under ERISA. Oh, so now you're telling me you violated federal law. Because under ERISA, it's 30 days that they have to pay.
So they can do that because the insurance companies are violating the prompt pay statute, which supersedes their insurance contract, right?
Exactly.
That's something that they all need to know, because when I tell them that, they say, really, we can do that? I've got practices that I've worked with that we're still working on claims that are 8 months old, and they can't bill the patient for anything because they think they still have to wrestle with the insurance companies.
Actually, you want to get the patient involved. One of the best strategies is to contact the patient, let them know that the insurance company has not paid, and that you don't want to turn this over to their responsibility. So in order to, keep that from happening, we're asking that you get involved and contact your employer group and get them involved.
That's it. Very good. Another question that I got in was, now I don't remember what it was. Somebody asked me a question to ask you about insurance companies paying on time. I'll have to ask you later because I don't remember what it was.
Well, and while you're thinking of that, look at your contracts. There's one particular provision in your contract that erases all the other bad ones. And that one is the provision on governing laws. And that's a great tool to use against them, like in your situation where you said you couldn't bill the patient, but the claim is not being processed in compliance with applicable state and federal laws.
There you go. Very good. Very good. Well, listen, Karlene, I appreciate you being with me so much. I think if people are really listening, they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to email you and say, help, or they're going to start looking at their contracts and reading up on it and really educating themselves on what their rights really are and how to handle this kind of stuff. And it will revolutionize their receipts, their income.
Yeah, we've actually turned, because we do high level appeals. So in other words, I like to teach a man to fish, but if he has a fish that he or she cannot get brought in, then we actually take that over and do our high level appeals, addressing probably things that you didn't even consider addressing.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But you don't want to become low hanging fruit. You do need to fight back because there are rights. And if we don't stand up and fight for them, we're going to lose them. And
they will push if they feel like they can.
Oh, yes.
They'll push the limit. So fantastic. Well, we don't have any other questions. So at this point, I'm going to just thank you, Karlene. I'm sure you and I will be talking soon. Hopefully a lot of people will be in touch with you and keep you really, really, really busy.
We're busy.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Join me next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern for the next Mr. Cashflow Live. My guest is going to be Gary Salmon, CEO of Black Talon Security. We're going to be talking about data security. Very, very important these days. And understanding the latest trends in the data security industry, particularly as they relate to the healthcare field and the small and medium-sized businesses. Would love to have you with us. Join us then next Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter Live. Again, I'm David Weiner, Mr. Cashflow, CEO of Cashflow Strategies. After all, it's your money. Keep more of it.